Hello everybody, my name is Aceface. Today I'm going to be doing some high-sec PVE, some high-sec exploration / combat anomaly grinding. Basically what I'm going to be doing here is going to various different, combat anomalies, see if I can get any cool escalations. I guess the main way I would call it is I'm escalation hunting in high-sec, and I'm actually doing this in a Drake actually. There's a reason I'm using the Drake is because I've just recently been using a lot of battle cruisers in these these Triglavian or Abyssal arenas, and for some reason, I just really love the Drake. I think it just looks so good, and especially with this Garista skin, I think it is makes the ship just look so much better. I generally speaking like Garista's ships actually quite a bit because they really, I don't know, I just think they look pretty menacing, but at the same time they don't look too edgy. I think it's like a really good balance right there, and they also tend to be really good. Like, I like to use the Gila Rattlesnake a lot, so those are common ships I like. Being able to have that same skin on the Drake is, in my opinion, something that's really cool. So let's see. Now I want to find a path. You can see there's like a lot of this smoke here. You can see this smoke. I don't know if this smoke before, but whatever. We have to find now a path, and what I'm actually going to do is go in the agency encounters window. Just see if I can find any combat anomalies that are actually nearby. I want to see if there's anything interesting. And the two ones I'm looking for are okay, so it doesn't seem like there's anything nearby. We can only see what's one jump nearby. But what we're looking for, or what I'm looking for, are the Garista's dens or the Garista's refuges. Those guys can have good escalations. You can get the 5 out of 10 or the 4 out of 10. They are the ones which actually the best ones you can get in high sec. You can't otherwise get any other, you can't get anything better than 5 out of 10 in high sec actually. So those can actually drop some pretty good loot, especially the 5 out of 10. There's always a possibility to get the B-type Multispectrum shield hardener. And at the time of making this video, they actually go for I think it's like just over 500 mil, 600 mil. That's a pretty big paycheck right there. Even for someone who does a lot of Abyss, that is still quite a lot. Actually, I'm just going to be scanning in the meantime while I'm trying to find a nice path, because sometimes it's not always the easiest thing to find a path. I usually just want to find a system that is still in Caldari space, because I've made this ship the Drake in general will do very good against the Garistas, because the damage bonus it gets to its missiles only apply on the kinetic missiles. So the Garistas, they have low kinetic resistance, so it makes a lot of sense to actually use or only go for Garistas if you're using a Drake actually, at least when it comes to PvE. Let's see now, maybe this one here, Nuken. Okay, good. That looks good. In the Forge, the way I'm looking is I'm just putting a destination to a random location, and then I'm just making sure that it's within the Forge, because the Forge is a region of the Caldari space. There's also another one called the Citadel. That's another region which is also Caldari space. But the point is, you only find Garistas in Caldari space. Maybe you do in some particular minute regions, but the main ones are actually found in the Caldari space. So let's continue scanning here. I'm going to actually hit now control space so that I stop. I don't jump straight away, because I think I did actually press jump on this gate. But we're going to see if we can actually find anything in particular here. People always complain to me about how I'm doing scanning in the wrong way. That I should be pressing like this, then double click here and then move it up and then move. So it makes it a little bit quicker, but I'm still not fully used to changing the habit, so you'll often notice that I still do that sometimes from time to time, just to put it without double clicking like this. But it's alright. It gets the job done anyway, even if I don't double click it. It's just a tiny bit slower. But I can imagine it's very infuriating to many people who explore a lot. But that's just the way it is. The Drake is actually it's really useful that it's got that extra high slot. It's got not all ships have their extra utility high slot the way the Drake has. Let's see here. We can't put a missile launch here. We've only got utility high slot here, so it's actually very suited to be able to put this this corporate launcher here. The fit I'm using actually is mainly, it's just a basic shield boost fit. I could have actually gone passive tank, but I found that I had a lot better EHP per second if I went with the active tank, so that's why I went with this. It's not cap stable, but if I actually, you'll see here, if I actually turn off this MWD, then I'm actually cap stable, so it's alright. And really, I'll have no issue tanking the Garistas. The only thing I can imagine maybe we'll have problems in is the 5 out of 10s actually. I'm not 100% sure if I will have problems, but I think I will have problems. The Onyx that I have is actually better tanking than the Drake I've got. That Onyx is just so good for Ghost's exploration if you want to do this escalations, because the amount of like EHP per second tap you can get specifically towards Guristas in the Onyx is crazy because of it having a very inherently good kinetic resistance. It's just absolutely crazy. You can go, I think it's with very minimal modules, I'm able to get like 700 EHP per second tank against Guristas with this thing here. The Drake, on the other hand, I think it has like 300 EHP per second, if I recall correctly, against Guristas. Like, it does not here. You see, it's only 83, but like if you take the resistances into consideration, then it'll have about 300 EHP per second tank against Guristas, because Guristas predominantly do the kinetic damage. Also do a tiny bit of thermal, but it's almost completely just the kinetic damage. That's really what you want to think about. But I'm actually using a Multispectrum shield hardener. It would actually be better that I go with a kinetic hardener, but the thing is, it's just a slightly bit better with the kinetic hardener against the Guristas, and I just like the feeling of being able to have a Multispectrum shield hardener, knowing that you're kind of covering all the resistances. So if I just happen to go to some other kind of site in the meantime while doing this, I'll not have absolutely like no tank. I'll still have some resistances towards the other ones. But my ship is definitely like made to be able to do the Guristas because of that kinetic bonus to its missiles, and also because of the rig I've put here. It's making my kinetic resistance a lot higher. You can see it's a lot higher than my even explosive resistance, which is what you usually have as naturally the highest resistance on shields. Okay, or at least Tech 1 ship's shields. I would usually do like this, but you can actually just do like this and just double click over here, make it a bit smaller. See if we find anything interesting here. I think you can't find the 5 out of 10s by scanning, but you can find the 4 out of 10s. The only way to get 5 out of 10s in high sec is through the escalations, actually. As far as I know, if it is not the case, correct me. Feel free to correct me in the comment section below. Yeah, we can have towing Caldari space, seeing a bunch of Caldari-based ships all over the place. I wonder what this thing is going to be, because it seems like it's pretty difficult to scan this down, actually. It can be something that's quite infuriating. I remember the first time I tried to scan down something in high sec, actually. It was just basically impossible for me to scan it down. I was in a Bantam. The reason that I was in a Bantam was because... Oh, relic site? Nah. We're not equipped to take on relic sites. But I was actually using a Bantam. The Bantam is what the career agents will tell you to use an exploration ship initially. And I thought that the Bantam, I think that, at least in my opinion, I think the Bantam looks like a pretty good ship. So that's why I just kept using it. But I wasn't really aware that it is... Oh, there's a refuge. Let's go to that. It just spawned right there. But I wasn't really aware that the Bantam actually is really crap for an exploration ship just because of inherent bonuses. Like, I didn't know anything about inherent bonuses. Like, all ships, they have some kind of specific bonus to a certain attribute, and in the case of the Heron, you have a bonus to scanning, but in the case of the Bantam, it doesn't have anything towards scanning. It has it towards logistics, and a logistics is not what you want to have when you're going to go out exploring. But I was spending so much time just trying to scan down this one site, and it actually just happened to be one of these high tier sites as well. I don't know if it was a ghost site, but it was at least a level 4 scanning difficulty sites. Oh, they're pretty loud actually, these guys. Let's turn this a little bit down because it's very loud. They're screaming a lot. The Guristas. Let's put it at 2. Okay, so we got these. I got this position script here, and I've got this target painted just to help it be a bit better. I was thinking of going with the Webify, but I just thought of putting the precision script or the missile guidance computer, because it felt a bit better just due to the fact that, let me just combine these. Yeah, there we go. Combine these. Yep. It felt better to go with the missile guidance computer just because it will affect the missiles irregardless of the range. If I have a Webify, then it's going to be a little bit of a problem when it comes to stuff that is quite far away. And now I'm using heavy assault missiles, so I'm not particularly far, but it's still got like 20-something kilometer range, so it's still a lot further than any Webify will hit, and it'll take obviously a little bit of time to get in range. So I feel like I'll get more use out of the missile guidance computer. Also, the missile guidance computer has the ability to put a range script, which will make us be able to have more range. I'm using the Rage heavy assault missiles, the close range variant of the heavy assault missiles with the high DPS. That actually will have 29-kilometer range if I put a range script in here, so that's also a possibility actually. Oh, these guys die very quickly. The Drake is furious right here. We've got a Drake who's very angry Drake. See if we get any interesting here. This is, I hope we get a 4 out of 10. It's unfortunate though, I do so many of these and I never get any, so it's much more common that I don't get anything than I do get something. That's just the way it is. If it was common, these escalations, then the Dead Space modules wouldn't be worth anything, so that's something to just keep in mind. If they were common, then basically there will be nothing special about finding those escalations. Ooh, a lot of frigates we're getting here. I should actually deploy my drones just to get a little bit of that extra DPS, you know? A little bit extra DPS is always nice to have. So if I just... It's nice to be able to just split these groups, actually, because you can just focus on different things like this. It makes it a bit faster, even, because you don't have to waste that, like... You don't alpha... If you alpha strike a... Like, with one volley, you destroy a frigate, then at least you won't waste the remaining missiles that could have been used on other things. You're kind of being a bit more efficient using two groups like this. Oh, the drones are already taking out this. We've got Gnosis over here. Gnosis actually, that is one of the first ships I ever used for doing this kind of combat exploration. Gnosis are really good because for new players, they are not. I think the Drake is better than a Gnosis if you have good skills, but for low skills, definitely the Gnosis is a lot better because the Gnosis, it has no skill requirements. Essentially, like you don't have to have any skill requirements, and the inherent bonuses of it are like they're not affected by any spaceship command skill level. So you don't have to have the Caldari battle cruiser to something to get the most use out of your ship. You just straight off the bat have the most amount of like bonuses from your ship because it's got a roll bonus. I can even show you here actually. And it just is such a good ship for new players because of this. Like, you get all these bonuses, and the roll bonus means that you don't have to have any skill training to get it. And it's got a bonus to the scanning probe strength, so it helps even a bit with actually these sights because you'll be able to scan stuff a bit quicker, which the Drake does not have, so it takes a bit of time actually. Let's see, where this cosmic signature right here. Okay, we can scan this cosmic signature. There we go. Scan this cosmic signature down. Oh, is there another one there? I'm not sure. Was that another one that spawned there? I didn't pay attention, but I thought that would have disappeared since we finished the previous site, actually. Let's deploy our drones just to get stuff a bit quicker as well. I put it to aggressive. Yeah, it's in aggressive already. We've got Caracal here. But the Gnosis is just a really good starter high-sec combat anomaly grinding ship. I used to use it a lot back in the day. I used to actually use it with these laser beams because my character is a Mars, so I just put it has bonuses to every type of weapon system as well. So I used laser beams actually on it, and it helped. It just made it so that it went really smoothly for me because I had already some skills in laser beam skills, and it has good drone bay as well, aiding you to have more damage as well in that regard. Overall, just a really good ship. I remember in the beginning actually being a bit confused with how these like escalations work. I used to think that the escalations actually they just like it's the person who does the most amount of damage or person who does the most amount of kills of ships that causes you to get an escalation. I found that it actually is like hardly. It doesn't seem, at least in my experience, that affects the likelihood that you get an escalation. It just seems like as long as you're on grid, some random person is going to get, and I think if you have done some damage to an NPC, then someone has the possibility of getting an escalation. The reason is because I have actually come to some of these sites. It's basically like on the last wave, I just killed 1 or 2 frigates. Some guy has been sitting here the whole time doing the whole site, and then I suddenly see that I get an escalation. And I don't know now why that's the case, but I think that it's just all you have to do is just do some damage, and there's a chance that every NPC player that's been doing damage to an NPC on the grid has a chance of getting an escalation. But don't quote me though, this is just like anecdotal experience evidence. It's not like anything that I've read in the game files or anything. But the only thing I'm thinking is that if that's the case, then wouldn't it be good to wouldn't people just have like a bunch of alts? They could just have like a bunch of people in the corvettes or rookie ships, and just like just do a tiny bit of damage, and then there's very high likelihood that they'll get a escalation sooner or later. I don't know. Maybe it could also be that a anomaly has a chance that it drops an escalation, and if it does, then one of the random players is going to get one. I don't know. I really don't know how it works, but at least you don't. What the main thing I'm trying to say is that you don't have to do as much damage as possible to the NPCs to get an escalation. It seems like it's still possible, even if you do very little damage. Actually, let's see on the probe scan if there's anything nearby. Nah, nothing nearby. We can actually deploy drones and see if we find anything interesting here. Do we find anything interesting? Do we find anything not interesting? Do we do this interesting? Nah. Okay. Okay, guys, I also wanted to let you guys know that it's time to... this is something I actually was supposed to tell you guys in the beginning of the video, but I was actually getting pretty excited with it, to just getting this Drake out to do these combat exploration sites. But actually, it is time for another skin giveaway. And it's going to be some Estero skins. It's Estero skins. 3 Estero skins are going to be given away. I thought it was actually quite suited because we're doing some more of like combat exploration here. So giving it away at exploration ship would be quite fitting. So 3 of the skins will be given away. If you want to be in the giveaway, all you have to do is just put your in-game name below in the comment to say that you want to be in the giveaway. And also make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So that is how you get in the giveaway. And in about a week or so, I'll pick a random comment and then they'll be contracted the skin. So as simple as that. I should have said that in the beginning of the video, but I guess I'm rewarding you guys who've stuck so far. But I just got a bit carried away there with doing these combat sites and just bringing out this magnificent Drake right here. The Drake, I really want to be able to do it more in the low-sec combat sites, and actually that is something I plan to do. I want to do more low-sec combat sites in the Drake. I have before tried to actually do the 5 out of 10s in the Drake. Oh, not 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10s, but didn't go so good. I didn't have so good tank, and I also got hunted down by some guy. Some gang, so it didn't really go that well. But yeah, I think that this will actually do pretty well in the asteroid belts. You could maybe find some good stuff there, like these Mordu's Legion guys, the clone soldiers. That's a possibility. So I think maybe I'll try that. Here is the skin, the Estero skin I was talking about. Actually, this is the Estero skin that I want to give away. So if you guys are not aware, this is what it looks like, the scope syndication skin. Oh yes, a refuge. Let's deploy our core scanner probes. And then we'll just have them scan mid-warp. You can't deploy them during warp, so always remember to do that. Deploy them before or just before you warp. You can save a bit of time, you know, you get stuff scanning done already while you're in warp. It's quite handy, actually. There's this bookmark here. I put a mining spot here, yeah, because I used to actually mine here a bit. Because Osmon actually is a system of mine that I've done a lot of stuff here, actually. Osmon is a missioning system. You can do Sisters of Eve L4 missions, level 4 security missions for Sisters of Eve, and it's a particularly good system, or it's unique in that it is very close to Jita. It's the closest L4 mission agent system to Jita, actually. So if you want to do some quick L4 missions, then you can do them in Osmon. However, I wouldn't recommend it if you want to do serious mission running, because it's a 0.7 system. You don't get the most amount of ISK 0.7 security systems. You get the most in 0.5, so it's always better to do 0.5 security status if you want to get the most amount of LP and ISK, because you'll notice that you'll get about 10% more ISK and LP. Each 0.1 you go down in security status, so 0.6 will give a bit better than 0.7, 0.5 will get a bit more than 0.6, etc, etc, etc. Okay, these guys are trying to ECM us. Little scrubs. We'll deploy our drones. It's nice to have these like drones who just do stuff for you without even thinking, because they're in the aggressive mode. I'm really glad CCP reverted that change that caused you to have the auto aggression. You know that thing? It was really depressing when that thing came out, or that thing was announced. I was thinking, oh no, it's gonna be really annoying, because it's just so handy to have your drones just go crazy without you having to tell them. But thankfully, CCP reverted the change. They didn't have that, so I'm really glad about that. These destroyers, they go down so quickly here. because they've got such a big signature radius, so my missiles just apply so well to them. Look at this poppage right here. Nothing interesting there. It seems like we've got a hard time of actually scanning down this signature right here. Let's recall our drones. Okay, good, good, good. What's going on with this scan right here? Because it seems like it's pretty difficult, actually. Let's move this a little bit in a different direction. But I definitely think that using the Drake for clone soldiers in low sec will be quite fun. Using it for just going in Caldari space, looking for the Garista's clone soldier people. You can get like 20-30 million ISK per one of these clone soldier NPCs if you kill them. So that's some pretty good ISK in my opinion. The whole Drake hull is worth 80 million, and with a fit probably 100 million. So you can get like 1/3 of your ship back then, and also you insure your ship, you get basically like 50 million or something back from the insurance as well. So you've almost got like your whole ship back, you could kind of say, just from one of those clone soldiers. Let's go to the next system and see what we got here. Hopefully we get something good. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's been so fruitful today in exploration, but we've got 2 refuges here, so that's a good thing at least to see. Let's see if we get anything here. Nukin. Is there anything interesting in Nukin right here? Let's see now. Nukin. Exploration, Cosmic, Combat Anomalies. You've got this Triglavian space one over here as well. Okay, Combat Anomalies, and this doesn't seem like they're showing anything right here. I don't know what's going on. Reset all, maybe? Yeah, there we go. So there's a refuge in Nukin, and I think we'll call it a day after we've paid a visit to Nukin. See if we get any exploration, escalation there. We'll do that in a future video if we do get it there. But these refuges right here, it's good. At least there's 2 here, and then we get another one in Nukin. Hopefully we'll get at least 1 4 out of 10. That'll be very nice to see. Let's deploy our drones just to get the stuff to be sped up a little bit. Good. Lock these guys up. I was actually thinking that exploring in a battle cruiser like this is not so good because of the warp speed. It's a bit slow, and that's true. But it's actually not a whole lot slower than cruisers, actually. It's 3.5 AU per second is like just 0.5 less than a cruiser. So it's very, 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 very tiny difference. And these the Drake is quite a bit stronger than your standard cruiser. I mean, it is, though, at the level of a pirate battle cruiser, but still. See, this 3.5, that's the AU per second. And then the Gila then has got 4 AU per second. So you got the... It's still possible, it seems like, at least, and especially since it's got that, you know, that utility high, makes it so nice. And the tank is plenty, at least for these high kilometers we've got right here. I can imagine if I really wanted to, I could get this to do a 5 out of 10. All I'd have to do is kind of refit it, because I've got this fit to basically be max DPS. So if we look here, the fit, it's got max, like, just 4 ballistic control systems, max DPS. This is something that obviously is going to have problems for my tank, because there's so much things I could have here for tank. I could put damage control, I could put a flux coil to have more capacitor, to be able to have more mid slots or tank modules. All possibilities I could have there. So if I really wanted to make this to be able to do the 5 out of 10s, if this is not enough tank, what I could do is probably replace 2 ballistic control systems with flux coils, and then I could put maybe even a large shield booster, and then I'll be able to like very easily get a very high boost rate, because the flux cores are very potent when it comes to magnifying your capacitor recharge rate. Actually, they really improve your capacitor recharge rate by a lot. Because of that, I'll be able to have a big shield booster probably. I've even got power grid to spare, as you can see, so I can see that being very likely, actually. Maybe even an extra large. Extra large is a bit crazy, you know. But I can still see it be a possibility as well. Also, another thing I could do is maybe even swap out one of these, you know, these target painter or missile guys could be used to. Maybe I mean, idea they're good to have, but I don't think I necessarily need them. I don't think it's like 100% necessary. I'm not even using my target painter on most frigates, so I think it's definitely possible just to remove that target paint at least. I could maybe put a shield boost amplifier or something else there. Also, I actually have I have actually the like Kildare battlecruiser. I've not got it to max level. I've got it to 4. So let's see now. If we were to increase that to level 5, I would get like 71 extra DPS. We'd have almost 900 DPS. That'll actually be some good DPS actually. I've got some small implants in that gives me a bonus to my missile damage, but I could definitely have more actually, because I don't have a specifically like heavy assault missile implant in that could really make my DPS go sky high actually. Let's shoot these guys. The drone is already doing the work. The NPCs in high sec, the frigates especially, they're so they're like basic frigates, not these elite frigates like you can find in nullsec. They die so easily. Like my light drones just annihilate them when they get their hands on them. It's just they melt like butter, especially when my heavy assault missiles go on them as well. It's really nice. Okay, there we go. Get these destroyers. One bad thing about having a battle cruiser though is that it does also take a bit of longer time to lock stuff, and I mean that's all right. It's not that bad. Like the same thing, warp speed is a bit slow, but it's not that bad. It's okay. It's okay. Oh, good. Pithum renegade. Let's do that. He's dead. Shoot one volley here. There we go. We've got a hurricane here actually. There we go. And we'll go to the. There's actually another refuge that's spawned in here, so we're pretty lucky right there. We can go to this next one, see if we find anything interesting here. See if we find anything interesting here. I hope you guys are doing all well right now, because I actually these last couple of days with university, I've been having a lot of work actually, and it's been a bit stressful for me. But I have been finding sometimes to relax. It's always good to, even if you're doing very ambitious jobs, it's always important to have some relaxation. In this case, with EVE Online is very appropriate actually, and it's kind of that's why I mainly stick in high sec. I'm all about that chill play style really. I don't. I can't be bothered to worry about who's in local really, and that's not the most of my priorities when it comes to my gameplay in EVE Online. It's also quite noticeable when I'm in these PvP events that I'm not particularly the best when it comes to the PvP events. Although I think I do have a lot of ship-based knowledge, just that I don't have a lot of practical knowledge when it comes to the PvP side of things. That's why I often will do errors. I noticed actually. There we go. We're actually out competing this Hurricane quite a bit actually. He's not really being able to do anything. We're just one-tapping these guys actually. We just have the target painter already and already ready. And actually deploy the drones as well just to help a little bit as well. There we go. Help our drones help a little bit. Let's see if we can do the whole site without him getting a single kill. That'll be really fun. Okay, good. There we go. He's dead. And we shoot this guy here. Yes. He's dead. Yes. Okay. We lock these guys all up. I'll die very quickly. Because we got the Hurricane here. I think the Hurricane will get a kill or two here just because of it being, there's so many targets, so you can obviously focus on that other one as well. Focus on this. Drones go on this one. And we shoot this one as well. There we go. Come on. Oh, he left even. He was just like, nah, screw that. Because this Drake is really good. Drake is really good. Hurricane's really good for PvP, but Drake is pretty good at PvE. Just in general, it's a pretty tanky ship. Relatively high DPS. All round, a pretty good ship actually. When I used to live in nullsec, I was like that. If you want, you can actually see on my channel. I was a couple of weeks. I was actually 3 weeks. I was in nullsec. It didn't seem like that on the video series because I didn't film every single day. But I was in nullsec for about 3 weeks. The trip there, I would have really loved to be able to use a Drake in PvE, but it was not optimal just because of the way. No Dread Garistas here. I'm just looking if there's any Dread Garistas I may have missed. The NPCs that there were in that space. Okay, another refuge? Wow. The NPCs in the space that I was in, there were Sanchez. Sanchez, they have low EM resistance, and there's no point using this really. The Drake is going to do really crap damage. Just because of, the kinetic damage is not going to really be applied as well. And if I use EM missiles, then I'm going to do a lot less DPS. You can even see here, look at this. 800 DPS. Then if I go in the hardware charges, and we go in Mjolnir Rage, 600 DPS, like 200 DPS just knocked off straight like that. Let's reload this as well. Good. Is the Hurricane here? No, the Hurricane's not here? No. Okay, no, Hurricane's not here. He probably just was like, nah, I'm just gonna go out of this system because AC is too fast. The Drake is too fast. He's a very powerful lizard. Or a Drake. Like a Drake, I see it like a bit like a dragon. I don't know if there's, I can't remember from biology class if there's some kind of particular species of lizard called a Drake. I think maybe there is actually. But it at least reminds me of some kind of reptile. And I think it's quite fitting to have the Garista skin because it kind of gives you a bit of that scaling pattern. I mean, it is like, you know, obviously a camouflage pattern, but it does remind me a bit of like a kind of snake's skin pattern a bit as well. You know, the rattlesnake of the Garistas. It's like a snake, and it's got a bit of a rattlesnakey kind of. The Garistas is camo is a bit like a rattlesnakey kind of skin color, I can imagine. Okay, there we go. Just wrecking these Garistas, no chance whatsoever. I didn't even activate my shield booster before, and I was just still tanking them because I was just the Drake is just that good. But there, I don't know if you noticed. I think it was just a few sides ago that I just started activating my shield boost. I forgot to tell you guys about that. I forgot to even activate it, just because I'm tanking so good. It's really over tank. But I can imagine it'll be more useful when it comes to the escalations, where tank is actually a necessity. Here, not the case. Okay, Nuken, we've got this. We've got 2 refuges in Osmond. Oh, we're just in Osmond, so maybe it's not updated. Maybe it's not updated. Can we reset? Any distance. There we go. Nuken. Okay. Nuken is the last system we're going to visit. And then that'll be enough for today. I hope I get an escalation. It's unfortunate. I've been doing quite a few refuges right now. Been scanning quite a few of these cosmic signatures. Nothing. That's just the way exploration is. Exploration is like that. And just combat anomaly grinding for escalations in general is like that. It's always like you go really far, really long time. You don't find anything you want. But then sometimes you just find, oh, I find 2, 3 escalations in a row. It's a long time since I remember that, but I do. It has happened before that I found like many in a day, very quickly. I miss the times that happened. But you know, yeah, so it wouldn't be fun, I guess, if you didn't find them to actually find them. That'll be like give you that rush, you know, when you actually find these escalations. I know a lot of people actually like that. Like the, you know, even the officer NPCs that you can find in Nullsec, they're so damn rare, so rare. But there's still people who hunt them because they just love that satisfaction of being able to find them. Like, I knew a guy who would farm the belts, like, I think it was like 12 hours every day or something, and he had 2 accounts. And he found an officer after 2 weeks. But like 2 weeks of that much grinding with 2 accounts, that's crazy. If there's someone who's like playing for a more reasonable amount of time, you're going to take many months, maybe even a year actually, if you are playing a lot less or just unlucky. Or you could be lucky and just find it on the first day. You know, that's always a possibility. But that's just the way of the RNG nature. When it comes to EVE Online PVE, there's a lot of RNG nature in this branch of the game. It's actually very RNG based, almost as RNG based as the Abyss actually. The Abyss, I would call that RNG central actually. Everything's RNG based there. From the spawns to the loot, from the loot amount to the loot quantity to the loot type. From the RNG, some abyssal ganker found your trace. A lot of RNG. Okay, let's shoot this guy and this guy. I like the sun in this system right here. It reminds me a bit of like a sunset just because of its being orange color. And it also reminds me a bit of a Minmatar system actually, because Minmatar's, like, the way it's orange is kind of making the skybox look a bit brown. It reminds me of the days I used to do faction warfare actually, because I used to be in the Amar militia a long time ago, very long time ago. In fact, let's see now. I can show you on my employment history. If we go here, you can see I went to 24 Imperial Crusade a long time ago. So those times I would often go to these systems of Minmatar systems to try to take over the Minmatar scrubs. And I would then try to take over these like plexes or capture points. And I would have some pretty good disc because of the loyalty points you get from there was actually pretty significant. And it would always be in these kind of brown systems where you've got like, yeah, there would be a very... always the feeling I would get would be going into a system with this kind of brownish, like this would be like kind of like a hostile nature, because whenever we went there was almost always people there out there to hunt us just because of the, you know, the Minmatar. They want us to take over the systems, and they see in the local that they're like war targets, so they're just gonna go and look for us. Or often I just run away like a little baby if someone were to warp in on the plex. Occasionally I would do these little skirmishes. But that's it. Didn't get anything here. We've done quite a few refuges. Unfortunately, nothing. Maybe next time. Maybe next time. We'll see. It was a bit of a long trip right here, but I'll continue going, I think, and I'll hopefully find eventually a Garista Scout outpost, or even better, a Garista's, I think it's called hallucinogen waypoint thing. The 5 out of 10 at least is what I mean. Get those multispectrum shield hardeners one day. It was so long ago since I got a multispectrum shield hardener drop. Then again, it's also because I don't explore a whole lot. I do a lot more abyss than exploration, but hopefully I'll find one sooner or later. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video right here. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.